God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome back. It's a beautiful new year. We're excited. We're growing. We're changing. Things are happening. Good opportunities, chances to stretch ourselves, to stretch our abilities, to grow as people, to grow as communities, to grow as a nation, right? Things are changing. We got a new president, all kinds of stuff. And, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And if you continue to do what you've always done, you'll continue to get what you always got. And a lot of that, depends on our habits, right? I know for me, my habits created who I was as an addict, and there's that saying, the habits maketh a man, right? And it's so true, the things that we do every day create the people that we are, and as an addict, I had horrible habits, my whole daily routine was revolving around the getting and using of more drugs, right? And just the using of drugs itself as a habit. We're very habitual creatures. We like routine, we like structure, we like to do the same things over and over and over. Some people don't, but I know I do. I thrive in a structured environment. And, if I don't have structure, I'm easily distracted and can go off the rails, And in addiction, I loved the process of using, you know what I mean? I loved the process of going to the liquor store, of, mixing my drinks, of having the drinks, of having a cigarette, these habits that we do in addiction, right? Same with smoking heroin. I love the whole process of the foil and the smoking of it and the going to get it and the whole thing, and it's a habit. People do it with rigs too, the whole process of fixing a rig and getting high and whatever you do after that, there's a process and there's a habit that forms behind that. And that's why smoking is so difficult, because it's a habit. We smoke or we chew tobacco after everything that we do, or before everything that we do, or during certain activities, right? Every time you get in the car, after every time you eat, after sex, before you go into work, right after work, all these different things. And just the smoking, just doing this, hand to mouth becomes such a habit. And that's why it's so difficult to break that habit. But in order to break it, you have to replace these habits, with something else. And I know for me, in early recovery, I had to change everything. I had created such negative habits and thinking patterns in my life that I had to wipe the slate clean here and start to live differently. I knew that I had created all these negative habits that I just had to break down all of these thought structures, all of these false ceilings, all of these paper ceilings, all these thought constructs that get brainwashed into our lives as people in this society, who I am, who I think I am, who other people think I am, my abilities, things, my limitations, all that. Throw all that away, because I want to figure out who I actually am, because I had lost myself in addiction, right? And now I've been on this journey of self-discovery. Who am I actually? What do I actually like to do? Who do I want to be, right? Who do I see myself as truly? Who do I feel God sees me as, right? What is this ideal that I'm trying to hold? And who do I need to be to become that person who is worthy of living out that ideal, right? It's about character development. It's about personal development. It's about becoming the person that can take on those roles. You know what I mean? Because if I would have been given all of the things that I have today when I was still living in addiction, or still, living out those negative habits, I wouldn't have been able to hold on to it. I would have crumbled under that pressure. I wouldn't have been able to keep it, because I wasn't the person that could handle this type of lifestyle, right? I had these negative habits that were self-destructive, and I had built up those habits for a long time, and I had these, self-destructive habits to where even if I got myself in a good standing, my personal choices and my personal habits, man, I would just tear it all down. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but 100% of the time, I always tore it down because I would built up a life that had a shaky foundation, right? I didn't have the habit of relying on Christ. I didn't have the habit of faith in my life. I didn't have a habit of a healthy foundation to build a life upon. My foundation was built upon lies. It was a facade. I could hold up, this version of myself that, could show up to work for a couple months and be clean cut and talk, how I need to talk and make, the right moves to get myself into position. But I could never keep it together because the real me would eventually come out, and my habits would show through, whether I'm showing up with liquor on my breath or I'm showing up late, I'm missing days because I need, I'm doing whatever. You know how it is in addiction. We're just work and relationships, everything takes a backseat to drugs and alcohol, right? It doesn't matter. Like drugs and alcohol and money are it. Everything else is just a means to an end, right? It becomes that way where your own family takes second place, work takes second place, relationships, everything, everything takes a backseat to getting and using more drugs and alcohol. And it made me into a very dark person, the person I didn't want to be. And so once I got sober, I was like, man, I got to change all this. I got to change the way that I talk to myself. I got to change the way that I'm talking to other people. I need to practice rigorous honesty, like not even telling little white lies, like nothing, right? If my pendulum was on this side in the dark, I wanted to swing it all the way over to the light. And I just needed to be totally tunnel visioned in my first year of sobriety, like only focusing on God and recovery and like brainwashing myself back in the other direction, like only focusing on positive things, no negativity, wasn't listening to any type of rap. I wasn't listening to anything that had drugs or violence in it, lust. I was trying to live as pure as possible. And don't get me wrong, like I didn't do a perfect job of that, but I was doing my best, right? And really trying to develop these new habits where I would wake up and structure my day in a positive way. I'm waking up and starting my day with prayer. I'm trying to make that connection with my Creator first thing in the morning and set my intentions for the day in that way. Getting into some literature. Today I read the Bible every morning, even if it's just a few pages or just a paragraph, like just having that disciplined habit of being in Scripture every single day has changed my life. And, early in recovery, it was recovery literature, whether it's a daily reflection, a quick piece out of the big book, whatever it is, like starting my day with some literature, focusing my intentions on recovery and health, and then going about my day, whatever I got going on, now it's work and making sure that I'm, hitting a meeting every day, having that habit, and then paying attention to what I'm eating throughout the day, paying attention to my hydration, paying attention to how I'm treating other people, making sure I exercise every day, or, I'm on an exercise program, a routine, the habit of physical fitness, right? The habit of living a disciplined life of physical fitness and health and recovery. Staying connected to these rooms, staying connected to church, right? And at the end of the day, after all that, obviously I have a big family, so spending time with my family is very important to me. And, being with my wife and children. And then, I finish my day with prayer too, right? And so we end that day with gratitude and self-reflection. Like look back on your day and see where you hit, see where you missed. If anything needs to be changed, if you need to repent, if you need to seek forgiveness, if you need to apologize to anybody, like look at how you're acting, pay attention to how you're behaving in society, pay attention to how you're treating other people and treating yourself, and you do that day after day. They say it takes 60 days to break a habit. Some say 30, some say 90, but about 60 days to break a habit. And the same with building new habits. You continue to do the next right thing and build these daily structures and do these daily habits day after day after day for a few months, all of a sudden your world starts to change and you develop these positive habits, right? And your outlook begins to change and your reticulating activator and your mind starts to change, where you start to see positive things, right? Where if you're a pessimist, you're always seeing negative things because that's how our brain is wired, right? But you can change it. Your brain is plastic, you can mold it and change it. Neuroplasticity. And we can start to focus on positive, see God in everything, right? See the positive outcomes in everything. It'll completely change your life. When you focus on gratitude and have the habit of gratitude in your life, just that alone, your life will change. When you see the things to be grateful for instead of see the things that could possibly go wrong or are going wrong, when you're living in gratitude and you're living in faith in Christ and faith in God, my life is so much more peaceful because I know it's all working out for His good. Whether it feels like it's working out for my good or not, it doesn't matter. I'm grateful for this opportunity today. I'm grateful for my life, just everything that I have, right? All my mental and physical faculties, everything. And I live in that positivity and I'm breathing it, you know what I mean? And I'm attracting it. The law of attraction is real. What you put out, you're going to get back. How you treat others is how you're going to get treated, right? If you're giving, you're going to get. And, the more you give, the more you get, and the more you put out positive energy, the more that you get back. And it works the other way too. If you're being negative all the time and violent and a thief and doing all that, that's all going to come back to you. People call it karma. People call it the law of attraction. Call it what you want to call it, but it's a real thing, and I've felt it in my own life and I see it in other people's lives too. So, as we work into this new year, and some of us are like, new year, new me. Well, that you have to change to have a new you. You know what I mean? You can't continue to eat the same way you've been eating and expect to lose weight. You can't continue to hang out with the same people, go to the same drug dealer's house, hang out in that crowd and expect to stay sober. It's hard to do that, right? We have to change our people, places, and playthings. Those are habits. What are we doing in our day? What are we doing when things get hard, right? That's a habit. What do we reach to in times of need, in times of difficulty? Because a lot of us have developed the habit of reaching for substances when times get hard, right? As soon as I feel offended by anything, I feel wronged, things aren't going my way, hard day at work, my wife is giving me a hard time, whatever it is, friends, family, my mom, whatever it is, my first instinct is to reach for a bottle. That's it. I want to change the way that I feel right now. And there's nothing that works for me like alcohol, right? Or smoke some weed or smoke some dope, whatever it is, right? That's the first instinct as an addict, is change the way that I feel. Get out of my body, get out of my mind and find instant relief, right? But that's a negative habit and it doesn't work for me anymore. I've proven that and I've ruined my life through those negative habits. So today, the first thing I do is take a step back and evaluate what is happening, why it's happening, and try to process these feelings and emotions. And for me, I need personal time to reflect. I need to then talk to somebody about it. I need exercise. I need meetings. I need prayer. I need literature, and then I need a little bit of time, and that's the thing, is like, if you can just give yourself some time, usually you can work things out. But if you immediately act, if you react instead of respond, then I often get myself in trouble, right? But if I can take myself out of the situation, take a step back, think about what happened and what needs to happen, and then make a sound judgment or a community judgment, right? Bounce this idea off somebody that I respect, my wife or mentors, whatever it is. And then I can come to a sound decision and come back and make that decision. Where a lot of times if I just make a quick judgment or pick up the drug without thinking about the consequences, anything can happen. And it never ends well for me. So going into this new year again, new year, new you, well, you need new habits, right? You can't continue to do the same things and expect different results. That's the definition of insanity, right? So, and it just starts slow. If you're overweight and you want to start losing weight, start slow, cut out a little bit of sugar, cut out a little bit of bread, right? Cut out a meal of your day, whatever it is. Start walking 20 minutes a day. And then add another walk in, right? A great practice is having a walk after every meal, even if it's just around the block, whatever it is, just to get your blood flowing. It's a great time to reflect. It can be a great time with your spouse, to talk and be able to connect that way. And then from there, just build on it, right? Start to, no more, or restrict your carbs, count your macros, whatever your goals are, right? You need to develop habits around that so that you're moving towards those goals and make them achievable. Don't set these huge goals and expectations right out the gate. It's a stepping stone. It's a building block. We're trying to reach this ideal, right? But we need to take it one step at a time, one day at a time. If your goal is to get sober, that's a big goal, and we do that one day at a time, right? We're just not going to use today. No matter what happens, I'm just not going to use today. I'm just not going to use right now. I'm going to sit on my hands, and sometimes you just got to white knuckle it through the day. I'm just not going to use. No matter if she leaves, if I lose this job, doesn't matter what happens, I'm just not going to use, because I know if I use, it's only going to get worse, right? And so just for today, I'm just not going to use. I'm going to talk to somebody in recovery. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to take a step back and reflect, and I'm going to pray about it, And you develop those types of habits, and your life is going to change in a positive way. I guarantee it. So take it one day at a time, one step at a time. It's important to write your goals down for the next year, put them on paper, look at them, do some reflecting and think about where you want to go and who you want to be in this next year and what habits need to change. Which habits am I taking into this new year? Which habits am I leaving in the past? And which habits am I working on developing? Who do I want to become in this next year, and who do I want to be at the end of the year, right? And what does that person that I want to be do on a daily basis, right? You look at successful people and you break them down. Like, what are they doing? A lot of them do the same things. You just need to study them and figure that out and mimic them, and work on those types of habits and watch your life change. And, don't get overwhelmed with it, but just take it one day at a time, and watch. Your life will blossom into something totally different, and it's a beautiful blessing. It's a beautiful journey. God bless you guys.
Victorious we became, but never forgot where we came from. Life or death, not a game. We came to change the lane. Recovery addicts, that's the name. Give yourself a break, just one day at a time. You were born to shine, so live and let love be forever. My sister, my brother, don't give in. Please remember, the lie is dead. We do recover. Welcome home.